primary schools for 26 years, and then I resigned and I followed other interests. During this time, I met Maree, and we became good friends. Maree came from Cambridge. I was invited to I was invited to Maree's launching of her program of About Words in Cambridge, and I went. What I heard that night really struck a chord with me. One of Maree's students got up on the stage, and he was a man of over 40. And he was uncomfortable speaking to the large audience that were there, but he got up bravely and to do it. And he had said how when he was at primary school, all he wanted to be was a carpenter. But when he left school, he was unable to read, so that dream was not able to be fulfilled. So he took another job that didn't need reading so much. When he was in his 40s, he was made redundant from this job that he'd taken, and now he had a wife, children, a mortgage, a house, and he didn't know what to do, and he was beside himself as to what he could do now to keep his family together and to support them. His wife knew his anguish, and one day as she was walking through Cambridge, she saw this little notice in the window. Can you read? I can help you. If you can't read, I can help you. Something like that. Very simple. She went in and spoke to Maree. Maree said, bring him along. I'll see if I can do it. And so the man came. He was so desperate he came. And Maree taught him to read. And he was, as he spoke these words, he was overcome with emotion. He was just about in tears, but he said, and I learnt to read. And from there, he then went and got his certificate to be a carpenter. And from there, he went on, and he was now doing extramural studies at Massey University. I'm listening, and I'm thinking all the time of those boys in this class that I could not teach. And I'm really listening. So that night, when things had finished, I went and signed up to learn to be a tutor of this course. I thought, that's just amazing. That was something in my mind all those years. What was wrong? What didn't I know? I didn't know that lots of other teachers didn't know too, because those classes coming up through that big town school every year, children not reading, obviously teachers down there didn't know what to do with them either. And then I began teaching, and to begin this tutoring program, I needed a student. And I had heard my niece, I had heard through the family that my niece was very worried about her daughter, who was having problems reading too. And I asked if I could have Maree to be my student. So we soon got underway, and that was part of the training. This was also part of the training. This book here is an amazing book. This is where I did my training. Teaching Literacy. And at the beginning of this book is this amazing picture. This is the answer to my problem that I had way back when I was teaching in that country school. It says, channels to the brain. 4 channels: hearing, speaking, seeing, and writing. And I'm looking at the qualities of the right-hand brain. It's vision, imagination, shape awareness, guessing, and intuition. Those are all strengths of the right hemisphere of the brain. Now I'm looking at the left hemisphere of the brain. and their main points are seeing and writing. Now the left hemisphere is hearing and speaking, and these are the qualities: logic, reason, analysis, application, and language. And that was the answer to that problem I had all those years ago. Now I understood why those children in Taupua could read like that. It was obvious that I had all right-hand brain children, all right hemisphere brain children, and that's why I could move them. But when I got to the country school, there were all sorts of children. Right-hand brain, I'm not sure about the middle, I think perhaps a bit of both. And then the ones down in this area, who I'm very sure of, were all left-hand brains. Now I understood why I couldn't teach them. The Maree people, my people of New Zealand, our history is an oral one. For thousands of years, our ancestors have handed down the stories. We've handed down stories like that, and that's our history. So obviously, the Maree people much of them come from the left hemisphere brain. I look at all the children in my classes at that big town school that came through, many Maree children coming through that couldn't read. Why? Because of where we've come from. This message is so important for all New Zealanders to hear, because the answer is in the program that the training colleges are teaching or not teaching. The program that I have been teaching for the last 6 years, if that was in every training college in New Zealand, children would be able to read. You wouldn't get this great big group of children coming through that couldn't read. And this happened, I was trained in this whole word method in the early 70s, in the early 1970s. 70s until now, that's a long time. And think of all of those thousands of children who've gone through and haven't learned to read, and have looked at themselves. They didn't know that they were being taught by the wrong program. For more information, visit www.aboutwords.co.nz. Like our Facebook pages, So You Think You Are Dumb and Let's Start a Revolution. Please visit our YouTube channel for more videos.